Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how to structure your Facebook ad campaigns in 2025 for success. I've been running ads for 11 years now, managing millions of dollars in ad spend across accounts in multiple industries. And I've picked up a trick or two, as well as stayed on top of market trends and implemented every strategy under the sun. The campaign setup I'm going to share with you today is exactly the one that I used to increase return on ad spends last year from 0.6 to up to 4.2 and increased brands revenue, in some cases from $0 to $3 million in their very first year of ads. I'll start out with some general advice and tips on setup, and then I'll show you exactly how I create the campaigns on Meta. So skip ahead if you want to just dive right into the accounts. Your Facebook ad campaign structure in 2025 needs to be as simple as possible. Here's why. Multiple ad sets can actually cause something called audience fragmentation. When you spread your budget across too many ad sets, each one learns slower, which can really hinder your campaign's effectiveness. By reducing the number of ad sets and pooling the budget, the ad set in your campaign can exit the learning phase much quicker and get you to good performance much quicker. You'll also find it much easier to interpret the data and get actionable insights. It can also cause something called auction overlap, which means multiple ad sets in your account are competing against each other. This drives costs up. It can also confuse the algorithm, just generally suboptimal ad delivery and poor performance. There are cases in which you do want to run a strategy with various ad sets per campaign, but we'll discuss that later. If you want to absolutely crush it on Facebook ads this year, try broad targeting and embracing Advantage Plus. Meta's algorithm has gotten incredibly good at figuring out the best audience for your ads on its own. It takes into account a massive amount of overlapping user data, making the old ways of running ads pretty much obsolete. By trusting Meta's AI to do its thing when it comes to targeting, you can spend more time on testing out creatives, and you're just likely to see much better performance at a lower cost. Let's see, when is it okay to use multiple ad sets in your campaigns? As we discussed earlier, there are a lot of disadvantages to adding multiple ad sets in your campaigns, but there are cases in which this makes a lot of sense. If my campaign setup is such that I have one campaign per offer or product, then it makes sense to have one ad set for your new prospects and a separate ad set for your warm audiences or returning customers. In about 98% of the accounts I manage, I have a separate campaign just for testing. It makes a lot of sense to have a lot of different ad sets running in a campaign like this. You're actively testing offers that you don't know if they'll work or not. You don't know if the algorithm will favor them, and they don't have data on them. So you want to test those in an isolated environment, i.e. in their own ad set. And as a preference, I will usually put the budget on the ad set level just so that I can control what I'm spending on each test. And this last campaign is possibly the most important of all. You always want to be testing. You need to continuously test different ad creatives, setups, offers, hooks, angles, copy, you name it. What works today might not work tomorrow, and conversely, your next best performer might be right around the corner. So keep testing. So here we are in an example account, and we're just going to start off by setting up our campaign. I like to do testing in one campaign, Advantage Plus, which already has an element of retargeting in it, and then I like to have a separate campaign where I can keep my finger on the pulse on my warm traffic or my retargeting. So when you create a campaign, you'll get the option to choose your campaign objective. Now, your campaign objective is what you're telling Meta you want to optimize the campaigns for. Strictly speaking, in most cases, we just want to focus on either leads or sales. So depending on your business type, you're either going to want to generate leads or sales. For the purpose of this video, we'll just go with sales for now. When we select this, the next step is to choose the campaign setup This is the type of campaign. So we have Advantage Plus. Advantage Plus, you don't really have much option to control the setup, the targeting, or anything like that. And then you have a manual sales campaign where all you have is control. So we're gonna just start with a manual campaign and we can see what that looks like in 2025. In the campaign section, and how I usually set up my campaigns is I always have a manual campaign for testing. Very important. A lot of what I do is test new creatives, angles, hooks, copy, etc., different formats. So we're going to call this SY for Soarly, and then we're going to call it manual testing campaign. And you do want to be quite considerate of your future self that has to drop into this setup, so make it tidy and make it make sense for future you. So manual testing campaign, and I'm just going to give myself a little note here that this is broad. Broad is the name of the game in 2025. So if you don't have a special ad category, you can forget about that. We'll skip that for now. So your buying type is always going to be auction. You can add a campaign spending limit. I don't usually add this. I'm very on top of accounts. And then you have the option to add catalog ads if you have a catalog set up. Advantage campaign budget. This is where the campaign budget is controlled on the campaign level. This is not something I want, so I'm leaving this turned off, and it's to the point that I made previously that in testing, I like to have my budget on the ad set so that I can control exactly what I'm spending on each test. Now we're in the ad set, and this is the level where we start targeting. So we're gonna call this one SY. We're gonna call this broad, and we're gonna call it video test, because likely I'm testing some sorts of videos. And you're gonna wanna usually try and select, if you have your shop set up, which I suggest you do, select website and shop. If you're generating leads, you would just click website, but you also have the option to add lead forms onto your ads. So performance goal, you're going to want to go in all cases for maximum number of conversions. If we had more data on our account, we might be able to optimize for the value, but I don't use this as much as number of conversions anyway, just because this one's very straightforward. So here usually you would select your pixel, and you can add a cost per result goal if you like. We're not going to. The attribution setting, we're going to leave it as it is, because the only way you can go is down, and this can just affect reporting, which we don't want. Delivery type is standard. We're not going to turn on dynamic creative. A standard budget, depending on your account, just figure something like 20% of your entire budget should go to testing as a whole. These numbers change, of course, but as a rule of thumb, 20% for testing. And then within that, you want to divide it between any ad sets that you have running. We're not going to add budget schedule, and now we're in the audience control. You have two options at this point. We're currently in the Advantage Plus style ad setup. We could switch to original audience, and this kind of gives you the option here. It really wants you to be using Advantage Plus. You can use the original setup, which allows you to target demographics, interests, behaviors, and it narrows down the search to those specific interest demographics, etc., ages, genders. However, what Meta is kind of pushing you towards, and does in most cases, I don't want to say in all cases, in most cases works a lot better, which is Advantage Plus audiences, where you give suggestions. So in here you can add any options. So for example, if you have a custom audience, if you have an age, a specific age or location that you'd like to target, then here in audience suggestion, you can say like, I suggest that the person that I'm targeting is 18 to 65 and likes birds, for example, have doctorates, for example, because it's important that they have doctorates. This is going to be just a suggestion to Meta. It can find you other audiences if it believes that they will convert better. Now in placements, I usually advise to just select all placements and allow Meta to just send your ad everywhere, but you can deselect some that you find to be less converting. So yeah, anything like if you don't think you will convert well in in-stream videos or Facebook Reels, you can deselect. But as a rule of thumb, I would leave these as they are. So that would be one of our ad sets. And then within this testing, you can test suggestions. So say, for example, you want to test a bunch of different audience types with Advantage Plus selected. You can test various ad sets with the different targeting suggestions. But the way I usually have it set up is targeting broad, and I will launch ad sets for each new hook or angle or anything new that I'm testing, a new offer, a new product, to test it. And then once we have that set up, we'll want to add, for every offer that we have, we might want an Advantage Plus campaign. And this campaign will serve sales again, but we'll select, at this point, we'll select Advantage Plus. And then in this section, we will say SY for Soarly, Advantage Plus, and I'm going to add here product or offer number 1. Offer 1. And then again in this section we want to select website and shop, the pixel, the location, the budget. We'll leave all of this for now. And then in the next section here we can add Advantage Plus, product 1, we'll do Advantage Plus ad set, product 1, and then in Advantage Plus you just have one ad set. So here we'd select our Facebook page and Instagram if it allows. Perfect. So that would be our scale campaign. Obviously we'd want to set up our events and everything that kind of campaign setup. It's a whole other video. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to run through that. There are two main setups for an account. You can either divide by offer, product, or you can divide by campaign type or who you're targeting. I like to do testing in one campaign, Advantage Plus, which already has an element of retargeting in it, and then I like to have a separate campaign where I can keep my finger on the pulse on my warm traffic or my retargeting. So I'll usually add another manual campaign for that, which we can add here. We can select sales. We'll do manual again. When it comes to selecting your targeting, you'll want to switch to original audience options, use original audience. And this is important because if you have the Advantage Plus option selected at that point, you're basically allowing Meta to target anyone, so it's not really retargeting. And in this case, you can either target different warm audiences such as website, socials, email lists, etc. separately in separate ad sets, or the way I like to do it, which is kind of consolidate them all into one ad set. And then if we see that we have gained a bunch of traction with enough traffic that we can separate those out, then we can think about targeting one separately. So we're gonna do website / socials / email retargeting. And then the way we select this is once we skip all of this part again because we went through that, you want to, very important, switch to original audience options so that you're not just targeting anywhere, it's an actual retargeting campaign. Use original audience. And then in here we will have pre-made an audience. Oh. Here we have it in custom audiences, and I can create another video on how to create these audiences. We would create something like website traffic, people who have visited your website in the last 180 days. We could also stack on top of that socials, anybody who's visited or engaged with your Instagram or Facebook in the last 180 days. You could do video views as well, engaged video views, that's a great one to target. But for now, we've just got one audience, we'll add that in there. And then we will deselect the advantage custom audience. Again, Meta is prompting you to just be broad, but in this case we won't, because it's retargeting. So deselect that, and then we want to leave the advantage plus placements, and that would be it. Then it would be ad setup, which we can talk about in a different video. And so there you have it. That would be my basic campaign setup. The most important is for you to be testing and to have a space to test. Let me know if you like this video. Let me know if there's any specific content that you would like me to talk more in depth about, or if there's a topic that you would like me to do another video about. Alrighty, thanks so much for watching. Bye.